Welcome to yet another talk in our Inspiring Conversation series with myself, Bindhu Unny. I am a leadership coach, facilitator, and marketer. And our conversation is going to be around what do we lean into when we're having days where things just don't go to plan. And today we are in conversation with Catriona Horey. She's based in London. She's a leadership, life, and nature coach and a mom of two boys. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Bindhu. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you here too. Something unique about my friendship relationship with Kat is that we met each other virtually. We actually just listened to each other. Remember, Kat? For
Yep,
a
I
very,
do.
very long. We only knew each other's voices,
Yep.
And then from there we exchanged pictures, so we knew how each other looked.
Mm-hmm.
And then we met each other just once, and that's very, very beautiful. And that's a quality that I'd like to highlight, saying that Kat is a very, very good connector. She keeps in relationship. She keeps in touch. She connects people. So that's very, very beautiful and very unique about Kat and the friendship that we've had over 5 years now.
Yeah, it has been 5 years. Well, thank you. That's very kind to say. And yeah, it's nice to be able to do this, call today and actually see each other.
The whole pandemic has just brought us all together, and we're all facing the same broad situation, but dealing with it in our own individual ways. Don't you think
Yes.
so?
Yeah, I do. And obviously it depends, which country we're in. And, you're over in Dubai and I'm here in London. And so we're all going through different circumstances and just individual contexts. But yeah, it's a unique time in that a lot of the world is affected.
Yes, yes. And how do you feel about this whole situation? What are your thoughts?
So I have a lot of mixed thoughts, really. There's moments where I feel fearful. There's moments where I feel stressed. Equally, there are moments where I've got a real appreciation for, what I do have, and the smaller things in life, actually. I'm quite hopeful for what we can create going forward. So, yeah, a mixture of things. How about you? How are things, your end?
So for me, it's like a seesaw. Yours is a mixed bag. Mine's like a seesaw. There are days where I'm like, "Yay, we can do it! There's opportunity, and that we can make things work even in this situation." There are some days where like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So, and it's constantly me trying to balance the seesaw. So it's like that. And I'm being very conscious that I want to have fun. So, which is why the seesaw helps me. It's like, okay, I can
Nice.
be playful and fun, and there are days when I'm down and up. So that's
it's a good metaphor. I like it.
Yes. So that's serving me.
Good.
So, Kat, what's a typical day in your world right now?
Okay, so right now, because obviously it's different from a few months ago. I mean, it's mummy life in many ways. I was up at 1 o'clock this morning. It's 5:30, 6:30 with I have two boys, as you mentioned, who are 3 and 1. So in terms of experience, I guess it's a kind of sensory overload, I would call it. My boys are gorgeous, obviously, I think that, but they're very affectionate boys. They're very on me. So it's quite a lot of touch, and, yeah, I do get to the end of the day and I'm quite tired. And we try and do like one thing in the morning that's creative, but it's not like a set timetable or anything. It's like, let's do painting today or something like that. And then we always get out in the afternoon for a walk. It's important to us. But beyond that, it's not more structured than that. I'm just, making sure that they're happy and healthy and letting go of the rest, really. So yeah, I think that summarizes where we're at right now.
And isn't that the most important, that we need to just feel happy and healthy right now? And everything else, it's like a disorganized structure, if I was
to Yeah, I think there's a kind of you create your own framework, don't you, for each family, I think.
Yes.
yeah, how are you finding it with your framework in
Yeah,
terms of?
yeah, very similar. So because we have my daughter does distance learning, so that's
Mm.
is an external structure that gets in at home.
Hmm.
Beyond that, I do try consciously to step out for some bit of fresh air
Yeah.
and nature. So
Mm.
that's because I have a small
Yeah.
little backyard, and it's going into summer season now here in Dubai. So
Mm.
most of my vegetable patches are all drying up, and I'm trying to keep whatever green
Yep.
that can survive through the summer. So that's the part of me that kind of just steps out, though it's a bit humid a few days, and yeah. So that's me. Just like
I know it
what do
can.
you lean into?
I also lean into nature. I I guess partly because I'm the daughter of conservationists and I grew up in the UK countryside, and so it's been an important part of my life. And also as a self-employed person, I've always made sure I get out each day, and just for my kind of well-being. And I think at this time, until last week, we were only allowed to go out for one lot of exercise a day, and now we can go out for more. But yeah, so we as a family go out just to our local park, which is called Falcon Park. And something that's been really lovely is my 3-year-old and I love taking photos on my iPhone together. And we just do real close-ups of flowers, of leaves, of trees. And the park is quite an unassuming park. You have to kind of go and find these things. So it's a bit of an exploration. Um, and my son now, will take the photos himself as well and direct photos. And it's just been a lovely way to obviously get fresh air. And when I say fresh air, I mean it this time. Like in London, it's got a tinge of pollution the whole time, but it genuinely feels fresh right now. We've got birds singing, and yeah, so it's been a real genuine joy going on these walks each day. And we've created a little Instagram page to kind of document all our photos that we've been taking, and it's become a real source of joy for me, surprisingly. So yeah,
That's
that's I guess what we lean into at
That's
the moment.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
I keep seeing that your face just lights up when you talk about nature, and you
Mm.
call yourself a nature coach. So
Yes, yes.
how is this working together? Like tell me something more.
In terms of the coaching or just general nature thing?
Oh, nature, and how do you
Nature
correlate
coaching.
that into coaching?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So there's a kind of, I guess there are two sides to it. One is actually being in nature. So whilst the majority of my coaching work is done remotely, when people are able to be in London, we can meet in Battersea Park for some of the sessions. And I just find being outdoors, it literally is a different space for people. Like immediately you have a new perspective on things. There is that kind of wider space. There are metaphors everywhere you can use, about, from a seed to a full grown tree. I mean, it's kind of, quite cheesy, but you've got the whole gamut of that. And I just think it unlocks new ways of thinking and feeling in people. And I've also had clients, that aren't with me personally, but I've had one client call me from up a tree once. I was like, slightly worried on the insurance front about that. But she found it really powerful. And I've had another under a tree in a much more somber moment. And so I think weaving nature into the coaching can be really helpful. And also just using a lot of the systems thinking about nature, and starting to think about how we can use that both individually and in groups of people and in professional development. So that's an area that I'm working on developing with a partner at the moment. So yeah, it for me, and I just love being outdoors. I think it's I love the color green. Yeah, another
Right.
happy place.
Yeah, me coming living in a desert, green is like it's just so cool. I'm like, I want more green, more green.
Yeah, yeah. How do you find green when you're in the desert?
How do I find it? So
Yeah.
I live in a community, thankfully, and I'm very grateful for
Yeah.
it, that has green around. So
Mm,
that's
nice.
something that I I'm so, so grateful for. And then it's my little garden. So just I just try and get green in all the time. And of course we go to places that are as natural green as possible.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But it's basically what's right now helping is my little place, my little garden.
And I think that's, you know, I always feel like that's really important, that wherever you are in your own context, just to have something. So if it is for you, it's your garden. For here in London, I mean, you know, we have obviously a lot of concrete mixed in with all the screens. So even if it's just a little bit here and there, even they say, you know, mental health wise, just having a pot plant in your office is genuinely helpful. So it's kind of connecting with what you can.
And I loved what you said about Instagram page. So I started, I'm not a gardener, but I started learning a lot from nature, just starting with indoor plants and then now trying my hand at outdoor plants as well.
Yeah.
And I started a little Instagram page, and that's all about just my learnings from nature, because I think it just teaches us so much. What does nature teach you?
What does nature teach me? Oh gosh, lots of things, but let me think what some of the key things are. I think there's something about life cycle that feels really important. And even just doing this park, you know, exercise, we've been in lockdown for 8 weeks now. And even over that period of time, just watching, it's been a beautiful time actually of the year, looking at the blossoms coming out in different colors. But now, you know, 8 weeks on, some of those are fading, you know, now we're moving into a much more luscious green phase. And I think there's something for us as humans, you know, we are obviously going through different phases in our individual lives, in our society. And there's something very grounding to remember that that's actually quite natural, that, you know, it's okay, we don't have to necessarily resist it. And that there will be more birth and more growth. And I find that really encouraging. I'm helping to water some roses in our local community garden. As part of a volunteer scheme, and they've been really, really dry. Ironically, in the UK, we've had not much rain recently, and it's been just so wonderful watching these grow and get stronger, and also do this with a community of people. So again, it's not just nature and humans. You know, we are part of nature. I think that's the other thing that's really important. You know, we're not separate, and it is a place that we can come together.
Absolutely. And right now, what I've noticed is that people are actually now paying attention to our planet Earth as a whole. It's very different. Before we were just stuck in our routine, and there were a few that would want to give attention there. But right now, as a human race, we are actually looking and saying, you know what, the Earth's breathing, the birds are chirping, there's so much more green and less humans around. So.
I know. I think there's a bit of a lesson there, probably.
Yes, a big one.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that for me just feels so important, that, you know, as we can all connect with that joy that nature brings, I just feel like it's through that means, rather than more of a penalty perspective, that we'll want to protect the earth, we'll want to improve it, you know, in terms of, you know, helping nature, and make changes in our behavior about climate change, for example. And I think that's, to me, that approach just seems much more, you know, exciting and sustainable for people. So that's really why I feel like nature is just such an important thing to connect with as well.
Yeah, true. What's something that you can give us as an actionable tool in our constrained environment that helps us connect with nature and helps us deal with the situation that we are finding ourselves in? Anything that you recommend?
I mean, I'd really just go back to basics with this kind of thing, because I'm really conscious in this time that, like, we're all under a lot of pressure in our different ways. You know, I know both you and I work, and balancing having kids, and I'm sure, you know, everyone has their different contexts. So I think with this kind of thing, it's not making something really difficult. I really think it's just, as long as you can get out of the house, which I think, you know, obviously not everyone can, but a lot of people can. And it is just taking that kind of curious mindset, just looking around and seeing, you know, what actually is out there in the natural world, and kind of just pausing for a couple of seconds and being like, wow, look at that leaf. Like, that was a really symmetrical leaf, or it's a really beautifully colored leaf. And it sounds so simple, but it's a way to help, become present, a way to help feel grateful for what we do have, even if we are struggling. And if you are having to stay indoors, then I guess it is, having that pot plant, or even just looking out the window. If you can look out and find some green, that is also meant to help, psychologically too. So I just think keep it really, really simple right now. Yeah.
And
That
just
would be my
diving
thoughts.
in. That's what I get from you. Like, even
Yeah.
if it's just a plant that I've seen every day, but just to go
Yeah.
look at the shape of the leaf. And as you're
Yeah.
telling me, I'm kind of thinking at my plants and like, I probably don't notice what's the exact shape of the leaf and how much has it grown over a
Yeah.
week or a day or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very beautiful and very simple tool that we can all implement.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's just being fun with it, and kind of remembering, that childlike side of ourselves as well. Like you mentioned with the seesaw, it's just kind of like, I look at my actually both children, they're kind of, love being in the mud and looking at twigs and sticks, and it's a lovely, stage of life, and it's not difficult to get back to, so yeah, have fun with it as well. It doesn't need to be like a kind of earnest thing,
Just have fun and just be childlike with nature.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's there for, So, yeah.
Lovely, lovely. And what's next for you, Kat, as
What's
we
next
move
for
towards
me?
this new world out there?
Yes, this new world that we mentioned. So I think realistically for now, it is more of the same. So continuing on with the coaching that I'm doing part-time, and looking after the kids until their nurseries reopen, and they go back for a couple of days a week normally. I mentioned briefly that project that I'm looking to do with, or I am doing already, with a lady called Elizabeth Wainwright, and using nature kind of as a systems way of thinking, and actually also being in it. We got an email from someone a couple of days ago who called us master pollinators, and I kind of like that, because I think our kind of gift is around connecting people from diverse backgrounds and ways of thinking, and then also connecting different ways of thinking and ideas. So it's kind of work in progress right now, but we are going to launch, and actually you one of the people that inspired us to do this. We are going to launch a podcast soon. We're going to start our first interview next week, in a week's time, so that feels good, and then we'll build things out from there. And then longer term, there's a little bit of me that would like to be on TV. I've always said in my mid-40s that's something, and I think what the purpose of that would be is to help people really connect with that nature that is available to them, and that joy. And then from that place of love and resonance, what can we do in terms of behavior around climate change and things like that. So that's a thing that I keep on reminding myself, that there is that idea there. But for now, it is, I've said this to you before, it's kind of, rather than mum and coach, right now it is mum plus coach, and that's just, I think, the reality until things settle down.
True. Yeah. Thank you so much for being so real, Kat. Just
It's my pleasure.
putting the realism there. How can people find you if they want to know more about nature and the topics that you've talked about?
The easiest way would be to connect with me on LinkedIn. So my it's spelled Catriona, Katrina. It's pronounced Katrina, and then it's Horey, Horey. And then I would also say, not maybe so much as a contact place, but I'll give a plug to my little Instagram page. Just where we've been doing these nature walks. It's Ode, ODE, and then to Falcon Park. It's just a nice little thing to look through, and hopefully maybe inspire other people to do something similar in their places and countries.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you for being part of the whole Inspiring Conversations. I'm sure we have inspired somebody out there.
If it's just one person, that's the main thing. And I mean, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and I always just really appreciate how you just always want to learn and develop and grow your wisdom. So I'm really excited to hear these other conversations that you be having.
Thank you. That was our conversation with Kat. And the action that I'm taking is to be really conscious about the nature and the plants around me and go micro level to observe it and have childlike fun, because there is beauty and there is learning that we can get from nature. So until we meet next time, stay safe, stay inspired.